Hi everyone, I'm Emily. Welcome back to Cooking in the Kitchen with Kids. This is episode 8 out of 8, and I'm so glad you're back with us once again to cook along and make a delicious meal for your family. So we're again in the Sackville Public Library in the library kitchen, and today we're cooking up some delicious cheesy fajitas and also some delicious rainbow fruit salad. So it's really healthy, affordable, and delicious. So I hope you're cooking along, and we're gonna have a lot of fun today. As always, we want to make sure we're staying safe in the kitchen. So make sure to wash your hands up really well before you get cooking. Make sure to have your parent or guardian nearby to help you with chopping or using any sharp equipment such as a cheese grater. And also if you're using the stove or the oven, which we're doing both today, you want to make sure that you have your grown-up nearby to help you if you have any problems. So we're going to get started and start chopping and also making our fruit salad a little later. So I'm going to go over the ingredients today. Our fajitas have some bell peppers in them, some red onion, a little bit of garlic. I love garlic. We are also going to use some button mushrooms. And of course, our cheesy fajitas wouldn't be complete without our delicious cheese. And this is leftover cheese I had from our taco episode. So if you still have cheese left over from making that, then you can use it on your fajitas too. There's a lot of similar ingredients in the fajitas and the tacos, so it's kind of easy to mix and match the flavors and the ingredients. Also, to give some flavor to our fajita filling, we're going to use some cumin again. We're using some chili powder again, and also salt and pepper to your personal taste. And you'll notice we're using the similar spices in all these recipes as well. In our chili, in our tacos, and our fajitas, we're using the chili powder and the cumin. And it's really great to have these in your cupboard because you can make so many recipes with just a few spices you have handy. So having these stocked up is actually really beneficial in the kitchen. So to slice your onion, as always, go from the root to the tip. With your claw shape, cut all the way through. And this time we're not dicing our onion, we're actually slicing it. So cut off the little tip as always and put it in your compost. And then very simply with your claw shape, just do thin slices of your onion. So this is even easier. Go all the way to the root and just toss that. And do the same with the other half of your onion. And again, we're going to get this really caramelized and cooked all the way through before we add our peppers. I'm just going to add a little bit of oil to our pan. Again, about a tablespoon. That's my go-to amount, and also you can add a little more if you need it. I'll just add my onions right in there, and we can finish slicing our vegetables all together. When cooking something with sliced vegetables in a pan, I really like to use tongs. I find that's a good way to grasp onto the vegetables and toss them around the pan. So if you have tongs, that's really handy, but if you still want to use a wooden spoon or a fork, that's completely fine as well. I'm going to add just a pinch of salt to my onions to help them caramelize. You're probably very used to this tip by now. And I'm going to show you one last time how to slice a bell pepper. I already sliced up my orange and yellow pepper, and you can use a green pepper as well to make it extra colorful. And even if you want to use frozen peppers, you would have to let them drain for a while, but it would work in this recipe. And they're already sliced up for you as a benefit. So what I'm doing is just taking my knife and cutting along the curve of the pepper where the seam is, all around the sides, all the way down to the cutting board. All you have to do then to keep all the seeds together is peel it away, and you're not wasting a bunch of pepper by chopping off the top. So that's my little tip for chopping peppers. remove all 4 sides, and then you can discard the seeds, or you can plant them in your backyard if you'd like to grow a pepper plant. And again, you really don't want to get that pith or the white part of the pepper in your recipe because it's a little bit bitter. So we're going to take the tip of our knife and very carefully, you might want to get a parent or guardian to help you out with this, just slice away at that white pith. It's a little bit more spongy than the rest of the pepper, so you'll know exactly what you need to cut away. The seeds of the pepper are actually a little bitter as well, so try to get all the seeds out. And a little tip for you is if you're ever using spicy peppers, like a jalapeno, most of the spice is in the seeds. So if you don't like ultra spicy food, you'll want to remove as many seeds as you can. So I'm just going to, with the skin side of the pepper, or the shiny side down, slice medium thick slices, about this size. You can see that. And do that with my entire pepper. So you can just go ahead and toss these peppers right in with the onions. And I already have my other peppers all sliced up. I'm just going to toss those in there as well. And with my tongs, I'm going to toss everything together. You can see it's like a rainbow in the pan. It seems like there's a lot in our pan, but once it cooks a bit, the peppers will shrink down and the onions will shrink down. And of course our mushrooms will shrink down as well. So by the end it will be about half a pan, and this will actually go inside our fajitas with the cheese. So these actually are so delicious, and we finish them off in the oven to get the cheese nice and melty, and they're very, very healthy for you. For this recipe you can actually have your stove on a little bit higher. As long as you're keeping an eye on your peppers and your onions, they shouldn't burn. And also someday when you get more comfortable in the kitchen, you'll be able to flip your peppers and onions a little bit like this. So this is a bit of a chef trick that you can do once you get more used to the kitchen, and maybe your parent can try it with you, but it can be a little dangerous if you try it on your own. But the trick of flipping vegetables into the air is just bringing it to the edge of the pan and pulling it backwards. So even I miss a pepper once in a while, so the more practice you get, the better you'll get at that, and it's kind of impressive to do in the kitchen. So if you want to impress your friends and your family, it's a good trick to learn. I showed you this trick once before. If you want to break apart your garlic cloves and your garlic head, all you need to do is either take the edge of your knife or the palm of your hand and twist down on your garlic until it pops open. So that way you can actually just pick out as many as you need. So we're using 3 garlic cloves today in our fajitas, and put the rest aside. And a little tip to get the skin off your garlic without having to get your fingers all garlicky is to take the end part of your knife, put it on top of the garlic, and give a little tap. That can be a little dangerous, so if you're not used to that, of course your parents can help you out. Just remove the skin and discard that. And sometimes the skin comes right off when you get a little bit lucky. We're just going to mince our garlic by chopping it into slices, and then turn it around and cut into teeny tiny pieces. And remember to stir or toss your cooking peppers. You don't want them to burn. Now that we have our garlic ready, I'm going to slice up our mushrooms. Today we actually have mushrooms that have a bit of a stem, unlike last time. And to show you how you can actually use those in your fajitas, you take them right out of the top of your mushroom and you can slice them thinly in 2 or 3 pieces, and they taste just as delicious as the top. So definitely don't waste that part of your mushroom. And you can easily slice your mushrooms into 3 or 4 slices, and that's the perfect size for your fajitas. I'm just going to add my mushroom slices right into the pan with the peppers and the onions. And I'll add my garlic in as well. This time I'm going to use my tongs to make sure I don't spill anything out of the pan, and toss everything together. And if this is on a higher heat, it should only take a few minutes to completely cook through. And you don't actually want mushy peppers or mushy mushrooms, you just want them to be cooked. And so they'll still have a bit of a bite to them when you put them in your fajitas, and that's what you want. So don't overcook your vegetables. Our filling is looking great. As you can see, the peppers are softer, the mushrooms have shrunken down, and everything kind of looks like it came together. So you know that there's still a little bit of bite to our pepper, but they're not mushy. And right now, all we have to do is add our spices. All I'm adding is 1 tablespoon of chili powder, our favorite, 1 teaspoon of cumin powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt, but you can add less if you don't think you need that much. And that is the final chef tip. Always taste your food as you go. That is the most important thing. You don't want to add more salt than you need, because you can't take salt away, but you can always add it. Our filling is ready. We added our spices, and now I'm going to build our fajitas. All you need is about a 1/4 cup of filling on half of your tortilla shell. Lots of cheese, of course, and some salsa. And you can also add avocado, cilantro, any kind of topping that you think would taste good on your fajita. It's completely up to you. So I'm going to turn off the oven and the stove. Add some of our filling. Make sure you get some of each color pepper, some mushroom, and some onion on every fajita. And fill it nice and full, just on half of your tortilla shell. If you think it's a little too much, you can put some back. Going to add my cheese right on top. It's going to get really melty in the oven. And I just set my oven to 350, but it will only take a couple minutes for the cheese to melt. But it's good to have your oven preheated. And lastly, just a bit of salsa on top of the cheese. That's the way I like to eat my fajitas. Then you just fold it over in a half moon shape and place it on your baking tray. And this recipe can feed your whole family. So this is enough for up to 6 people. It's a lot of food. And that's what our fajitas look like on our tray. I'm gonna go pop these in the oven, and like I said, in just a couple minutes, they'll be ready to eat. Fajitas are hot and out of the oven, and the cheese is deliciously melted. As you can see, that looks pretty delicious. Usually 2 fills me up pretty well, but maybe just 1 will do it for you. And this is what it should look like. I hope yours turned out good too. For our final recipe of the series, we're going to make a really easy and delicious rainbow fruit salad. This is a great recipe because you can absolutely mix and match any type of fruit you have in your fridge. You can use canned fruit, You can use whatever you have around. I'm going to use a few local and more tropical varieties in our fruit salad today. And you can use this recipe for breakfast, you can eat it for dessert. It's a great snack, so it's a very versatile and very delicious and healthy recipe. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually make the sauce for our fruit salad, and that just brings the flavor all together. And what we need for our sauce is some orange juice and some honey. So once you mix that all together, all you have to do is chop up your fruit, mix it, and the longer you leave it in the fridge, the more flavor it's going to have. So I recommend you eat it within 4 days, but it's really great leaving it for breakfast, lunch, snack, whatever you'd like to try it for. You just need 2 tablespoons of honey. I'm going to measure that out into our bowl. And you can put this right into a smaller bowl to mix it up first. And you can actually use your finger just to scoop all of the honey into the bowl. And a little chef tip I forgot to do, but you can actually put a little bit of oil at the bottom of your measuring spoon and your honey will slip right out into the bowl. So go ahead and try that at home. It's a little less messy than this way that I'm doing right now. I'm going to add in a ½ cup of orange juice. You can use freshly squeezed orange juice if you have it, or you can just use store-bought. Either way is great. I'm going to put it in our small bowl and mix it up with a whisk. So a whisk actually helps incorporate the honey completely into the orange juice, but if you have a fork at home or a spoon, you can do that as well. The first thing I wanted to show you is how to segment an orange, and this is the way you can get the delicious inside of an orange without getting the skin or the pith involved at all. So instead of just peeling your orange the regular way, you can actually use your knife to cut off the bottom part and the top, set it on a flat side, and with your claw shape, just follow around your orange, just like that. This is something that your parent or guardian can help you out with, but when you practice, it becomes easier and easier. And try to get as little orange on the peeling as you can. So that's what it will look like when you skin your orange. And you want to take off any of those white bits on the outside, the pith, because they do taste a little bit bitter. Just going to toss the peeling here. Once you have your orange nicely peeled, you can just take your knife and carefully cut into each segment of the orange, avoiding the skin on each side. So that will make sure that we don't have any of the tough orange skin in our salad. But if you want to do it the old-fashioned way and peel it just with the skin and then chop up your slices, that's completely fine too. But this is a bit of a chefy tip to get some juicy bits of orange without the skin. And if you have any seeds in your orange, like I do, make sure to pick them out because you don't want to chomp down on those when you're eating your fruit salad. Just gonna do a fine dice, large dice on these oranges and toss them into our bowl. And remember to clean your cutting board as you go or it's gonna get pretty juicy. The next thing I wanted to show you is a kiwi. So kiwis have a bit of hair on the outside, so most people like to peel their kiwis. So the way I do this is I just, again, chop off the top and the bottom like with the orange. Set those parts aside. And it's very easy to also follow around the sides of your kiwi just like this. So you can probably tell already why this salad is called a rainbow fruit salad. It's because there's every color of the rainbow. We have red strawberries, blueberries, our green kiwi, our yellow orange or orange. And just bite-sized pieces for everything is what you're looking for this salad. And I already chopped up a bit more kiwi here. We're gonna add just a couple. And another great thing about this recipe is you don't have to follow exact measurements. You can put what you have. So if you have 1 apple, you can add 1. If you have 2, you can add 2. With the grapes, you can cut them in half, but I like to just wash my grapes nicely and keep them in one piece. Dump those right in. For the apple, I showed you how to chop up an apple in our strawberry apple salsa recipe when we were making our pancakes, but I'll show you that again. I really like to leave the skin on my apple. It's extra fiber and I find it tastes really great, but you can peel your apple before if you like to. So just chop your apple in half and in one more. And if you don't have a paring knife handy to core your apple, it's actually much safer to cut from an angle and just remove the core that way. So that's also another great way to do it. Just make sure our parents nearby to make sure we're staying safe with our knife. Make sure there's no seeds in your apple. And then we're going to cut each slice into 3 separate pieces and just do bite-sized pieces. Toss those in. You can use any type of apple for this. I'm using a Gala apple, but a tart green apple would also be really delicious, or a Macintosh if you have any of those. Those are great options too. And this adds a bit of crunch to your fruit salad, which is a nice difference from the other softer fruits we're using. We're gonna add some delicious strawberries. I showed you the strawberry trick last week, where we just shove it through the strawberry and the top comes right off. But I'm just gonna cut off the top this week because I wanna show you both ways you can do this. So cut as close to the green part as you can and cut about into 4s. So we don't have to cut it too small. As long as it's bite-sized pieces, that's what we're looking for. And about a cup of strawberries is plenty. All right, we have our strawberries in. And the last fruit that we want to add to our fruit salad is some blueberries. And we all know that blueberries are found in Nova Scotia, grown locally, and they're very delicious and healthy for you. So we're happy to use about a cup of blueberries in our rainbow fruit salad. And that's about half a pint that you would find at the grocery store. Make sure to wash all your fruit really well. And the last step is just to add your apple juice, or sorry, your orange juice and your honey. So I added my orange juice and honey mixture right into the fruits, and all I have to do is a quick stir to get all the flavors combined. So here's your finished products, your rainbow fruit salad. As you can see, it's every color of the rainbow, and the longer it sits, the more the orange juice will soak into the fruits and give it more and more flavor. You can add other things like some mint in here to give it some flavor. Anything you want to try, a little bit of cinnamon would be good. You could use a little lemon juice or lime juice to give it a little bit more of a tang. Be creative with your cooking. This is a really easy recipe that you can customize to whatever you have and whatever you like. Thank you so much for watching In the Kitchen with Kids with Halifax Public Libraries. I hope you followed along with all 8 episodes and you cooked along with us too. And I really hope that you enjoyed everything that you made. If you want to send me any pictures of the food that you made, my number is 902-456-7481. I'd love to see it. And thanks again. Have a great day.